Good Monday morning, friends. Okay, so second week back to school, getting back into the routine, but it's kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm realizing that a lot of the things that I was very disciplined about last school year, I haven't quite fully committed to be as self-disciplined this school year and be back into my routine that were really, really helpful to me, that made my days go smoother, my weeks go smoother. And so it got me thinking about the value of this self-discipline. And, it's really hard sometimes when you're very self-disciplined in an area and then you kind of slack off a little bit and then you're trying to get back into it. So today, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the value and art of self-discipline and some ways that we can kind of like trick our brains to help us to become more self-disciplined, especially after a time of not being self-disciplined. Okay, so a lot of times we lack self-discipline because of something that's happened in our life, or we just taken a break, or maybe the grief happened in our life or trauma happened in our life. And the danger of not having self-discipline is that you can very easily fall into patterns and habits that are detrimental to your health, your physical, emotional, and mental health. A lot of people who are not super self-disciplined in certain areas of their life will suffer from depression. They can suffer from not meeting goals that they have for their lives. And when I'm talking about goals, I'm talking about just habits, like hygiene habits and things that really matter in life, because they're just not self-disciplined. And there are reasons for it, especially after a time of grief or a time of trauma that has happened in your life. There are definitely reasons. And I would say to those, if that is you, if you find yourself in that space, you need to seek help, because you have to become more self-disciplined. Now, there are levels of self-discipline. Some of us have more than others, but the cool thing about it is that we can actually grow and change the way that we look. We can actually change our willpower. We can actually change our self-discipline to become more. So that's what we're going to talk about. First, self-discipline, what is it? It is the ability to control our actions, our decisions, and our behaviors. We have the power to be able to choose. We have the power to be able to stop ourselves from reacting and rather respond to situations in our life. The self-discipline is the key component to reaching goals, to achievement, to having success, however we define success. It improves our mental health. As I said before, it improves our emotional health. It will improve our physical health. Just from taking our vitamins every day, to eating a nutritious diet, to being self-disciplined in our finances. All of these things affect our mental, emotional, and physical health. It actually, I would say it even affects our spiritual health, because when we're not self-disciplined in our spiritual practices, then we aren't able to feed ourselves spiritually, and that makes our spiritual health also decline. So self-discipline is an art. It is something that we all desperately need. Another reason that self-discipline is super important is it actually helps us develop other skills that we need in life, such as resiliency, commitments, which helps our relationships, because when we're more committed, it makes our relationships stronger, and it's just self-motivation in general. Also, often we look for external things to help motivate us, but by having self-discipline, we have self-motivation to do things in our life that maybe the externals are not giving us motivation for. It helps heal that inner person within us that feels like you can't, when in changing it and shifting it to make it I can. So self-discipline will predict success. So they did a study. It's a pretty famous study with marshmallows with young children. And what they found from this study is they would put a marshmallow in front of a child and see if the child would eat the marshmallow or if they would delay the self-gratification and not eat the marshmallow until after like the conversation was done. Like what would be the reaction? What would be the psychological step, like social skill, like what happened? And what they found is the young children who delayed eating the marshmallow would become more successful later on, because they like followed these kids for like many years. And the ones who delayed the gratification for the marshmallow were more successful in their like student careers. So it just goes to show you that by having self-discipline to not eat the marshmallow when it's put right in front of you when you're 4 is actually a great predictor for you having success later in life. So that kind of goes along with self-gratification in general as an adult. Can we delay our self-gratification and have that self-discipline in order to achieve the goals that we have to be more successful in life? When we are more disciplined, we are able to remove more negativity and stress from our life. It's like a muscle. The more that we train self-discipline, the stronger it becomes. And we're able to then take things that are negative in our life and kind of like reframe them to be more positive. And the more we do this, the less stress, and the less negativity we will find in our lives, because we are disciplined to say, I'm not allowing that in my life. And it helps us with boundaries. It helps us with boundaries in relationships. It helps us in staying committed to things that we know that are good and healthy for us, which can be our boundaries and relationships and workplaces and all of those things that we know that are not good for us. So, yeah. Okay. It also helps us to practice more self-care, which kind of goes along with the boundaries. When we practice self-care by getting on a good sleep schedule, by exercising, eating well, all of these things that are self-care things for us, we have a healthier life, and we are able to then, again, dispel that negativity, have more positivity in our life, and just have overall better wellness, physically, mentally, emotionally, etc. It also helps us when we are self-disciplined to learn our own individual capacities for different things in our life. Again, putting in those boundaries, whether it's an emotional capacity, a work capacity, tasks that we need to be able to do. It helps us to also embrace the idea of abundance in our life, because we understand that there is unlimited willpower. It's just exercising that muscle and building that resilience and building commitment and building the ability to increase our capacity. So we have to be aware of what our capacity is, and then we can increase in smaller increments our capacity to do more tasks, to be able to do more things, to be able to be more disciplined. And it helps us turn that I can't into I can. Okay, so we know we need to have self-discipline. So what do we do if we find ourselves in this place of, I am not self-disciplined, Brianna, like help me, give me tricks. How do I trick my brain? Because really it is about us tricking our brains into being able to do more, or being able to do less, whatever it is that we're trying to be more self-disciplined in. Getting into that routine to help ourselves. So the first trick is to enact our cool system. So in our brains, our bodies, we have a hot system and a cool system. Now, the hot system is where we are emotional. It's where all of our emotions live. It's where we're super impulsive and everything has to be fast, 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 fast. Where it's very reactive. Okay. The cool system within our minds and our bodies is the place where rationale lives. It's where we become reflective, where we slow down, and then we can respond. So when we train ourselves to utilize our cool system rather than enacting the hot system, we are able to make better decisions, and we are able to respond rather than react. Okay. So how do we do that? One of the ways that is super easy, and you've probably heard it a million times, to enact the cool system is to count to 10. So before you make any decisions whatsoever, or do that, like whether it's the decision to buy the stock, sell the stock, whether it's to eat the cookie or eat the celery, to work out or decide to stay in bed, count to 10. And while you're doing that, do what's called box breathing. Box breathing is a super helpful tool. It's where you breathe in, you hold your breath for like 5 seconds, I think it is, and then you release your breath over 5 seconds. Then you inhale over 5 seconds very deeply, hold your breath for 5 seconds, release the breath. So you make a box with how you breathe. When you do that for about 2 to 3 minutes, you're better able to you enact your cool system, and you're better able to make a responsive decision rather than reactive decision. That's the first tip. I would say 9 times out of 10 will help you to become more self-disciplined, to make a better decision for whatever situation you are in. Studies show that we need to preserve our willpower. So willpower over the day will diminish as the day goes on because we become more tired. So if we have challenges in our life, and we have challenges that require us to be more self-disciplined, psychologists say it's better to do those things in the morning. So if working out for you is like such a challenge and you just have a really hard time with working out, your willpower is going to be much less in the afternoon and evening than it will be in the morning. So I would say if that's a challenge for you, work out in the morning, because you're going to have more willpower to get up and go and do the thing in the morning than you're going to have in the evening. This is called, because our willpower depletes throughout the day, it's called ego depletion is the terminology for it, because your ego will deplete throughout the day, and ego is what actually helps us become more disciplined, because our ego is like, no, I'm going to do that thing because I need to do that thing, and this is for me, and it feeds the egos in a healthy way, becoming more self-disciplined. The third thing I would say to help trick your brain psychologically is to concentrate on your environment. Like, being in an environment that's super supportive for your goals is going to help you become more self-disciplined. Now, this includes people in your life. People are part of your environment. It also includes like your actual, like your space that you're in. If you find it very difficult to work long hours, or like actually like sit down and actually do work, it might be your space. Having a dedicated workspace for work, and that's what you do instead of working in bed or working on the couch or, working in other places. If you can't maintain your self-discipline, having a dedicated workspace, like a desk, an actual workspace where you can be productive, is going to help you to be more self-disciplined for your work. Because then you get up in the morning, you go to your desk, you start working. That is your dedicated workspace. Nothing else happens there. It's going to help you be more disciplined. When you're trying to lose weight, get rid of the junk food. That is one of the first things they say, is get rid of it when you're first starting out, especially because if the junk food is there and it's in your space and you can see it, especially like it's on top of your fridge and you can see it and it's not hidden away like in a cupboard or something like that, you're going to eat the junk food. That's why they say to you, put like fruit and vegetables out so that you're more likely to pick up the healthy snack rather than the junk food. So your environment absolutely matters in being more self-disciplined in certain areas of your life. Another tip is to practice one thing diligently, like commit to one thing that you're going to be very disciplined about. So whatever that one thing is, get really good at it, get super disciplined about it. Maybe it's your financial health. So maybe your finances are a mess and you're not disciplined in your spending. So concentrate on that one area. You don't have to do all the things all at once. for all these different areas of your life where you need more discipline. Choose one. So maybe you start small, and you start small. Like, what is one thing you can do to become more financially secure, to become more financially disciplined? Maybe it's not going and getting the coffee every morning on your way to work. Maybe you make coffee at work. Maybe your work has a coffee and you use the coffee there. Or maybe you make it at home and you drink it on the way to work. Maybe that's what you like. You like it on the way to work. Well, make it at home. You don't have to wait until you get to the office. That one thing, stop buying the coffee on your way to work, is going to help you financially become more disciplined. And then start small. And when we enact these things and do one thing really well, we will see it bleed over and overflow into other areas of our life, because self-discipline actually feels really good when you start meeting some of the goals that you have for yourself and start achieving the success, that the reason of why you need to have the self-discipline. So, and it's better to make little small changes rather than big, huge changes. So if you're trying to be more financially responsible, don't make it so that you aren't buying anything, you never spend any money, you're not doing, that you put like a huge amount of your paycheck into your savings instead of having it in your checking. Like, start small and then build upon each thing as you grow. It takes like 66 days about on average for you to create a new habit. And this is part about habit building, is starting small and building bigger, but get really good at one thing. Start those habits for one thing. And then you will see it overflow into other areas of your life. You have to recognize those small steps before you can take the big ones and celebrate them. If you go a week without getting the coffee from Starbucks every morning, celebrate yourself. That doesn't mean go out and buy the Starbucks, but celebrate that fact. Find a way to celebrate yourself, pat yourself on the back. Absolutely, you did a good thing. That's awesome. Positive self-talk is huge. The way we talk to ourselves is how we are going to respond to ourselves. So if we talk to ourselves negatively and say, you can't do that, you're terrible, you're not gonna be able to lose that weight, you're not gonna be self-disciplined enough to eat salads every day and not eat the junk food, then guess what's going to happen? We're not going to eat salads and we're going to eat the junk food. But if we talk to ourselves in a way that is affirming and encouraging, then we're going to be able to do the thing that helps get rid of the I can't and replace it with I can. A lot of people talk about affirmation. Affirmation is awesome, but something that I'm really learning is that we can affirm ourselves, but then we also need to declare that this is what we're doing. That's that like manifesting. That is that speaking into existence things, because we do speak things into existence. Oftentimes we're speaking negativity into existence and we don't even realize it. When we say we can't do something, then guess what? 9 times out of 10, we're not going to be able to achieve that thing. So talking positive to ourselves and making sure that we're surrounding ourselves with people who also are speaking positively into our life, affirming us and helping us with our declarations, is going to make it so much easier. Okay. And then I think the last 2 things is strategically delaying self-gratification. So when we strategically delay our self-gratification, we are able to kind of plan for it. So these last 2 things kind of go together. So when we make decisions ahead of time and we are self-delaying our gratification, we're able to better achieve our goals. So again, kind of going back to that marshmallow thing that the kids did, that the experiment they did with kids, is the kids who didn't eat the marshmallow and they delayed that gratification of eating the marshmallow found that they were more successful. Now, when they went back and they asked these kids, well, why didn't you eat the marshmallow right away? They were like, well, I was saving it for after the conversation. A lot of them said, as a reward for the conversation and reward for doing the thing that I needed to do within the experiment. So if we can kind of like say to ourselves, okay, I'm going to go exercise first, and then I'm going to, go do the thing that I want to do. I'm going to eat the salad first, and then then if I'm still hungry, I can eat the chocolate cake or whatever it is. By giving ourselves a self-delayed gratification. We're not telling ourselves we can't do that thing. It's just we have to do this other thing first. And then if we plan it out, planning things out like I'm making a meal plan for yourself for the whole week. This is really helpful when you're like trying to diet and exercise as a self-discipline thing, but also for our financial wellness. When we plan out our meals throughout the week, like on a Sunday, we do meal planning and we like plan out the meals and we even like pre-make the meals. We are better able to stay disciplined because now we already have this food and we don't need to go out to eat. We have stuff for lunches, so we're not going out to lunch. We have the healthy food that we made at our disposal and all we have to do is rewarm it. By making the plan and following through on the plan, the actionable steps, so that we can be more self-disciplined, we're able to go across a lot of different areas of our life where we need to be more self-disciplined. By doing that simple thing, we're able to be financially more responsible and more nutritious for our bodies. So we're hitting two birds with one stone. Something I mentioned just before, the last thing is getting accountability. So if you're trying to be more self-disciplined in a certain area of your life, get accountability. That maybe look like joining a group that is going to help keep you more accountable. Maybe it is talking to a coach. Hi, yeah, I'm a coach. Talking to a coach to help you reach those goals, to be more self-disciplined. Having someone there to give you accountability is going to help you because you will become responsible because they're going to ask you about that thing. And if you're not doing the thing, they're going to call you out on it. Hopefully they will anyway. So, self-discipline. We know it's important, but we're not doing it in so many of our lives. So what do we need to do? Here's your challenge for this Monday. If there's an area in your life where you're not self-disciplined, figure it out. List out the areas you are self-disciplined and list out the areas you're not self-disciplined, but you want to be more self-disciplined in. Now, choose one thing from the list that you're not self-disciplined in. Just one thing. And what I want you to do today is to figure out one thing you can do to be more self-disciplined in this area. Okay. You're going to use the box breathing and the counting before you make any decisions that have to do with this area of your life for self-discipline. One thing. Just this week, one thing. Now, next week, you're going to add another thing. And the week after that, you're going to add another thing. And you're going to build slowly. Let me know how it goes. I'd really be interested to hear from you. And if you need more accountability, you can always message me and you can schedule a one-on-one coaching with me to see if we'd be a good fit for maybe a coaching plan. Maybe you have something that's really big in your life that you need a lot of help with. You need major self-discipline in this area and you just need the accountability. That's what a coach is for. I'd love to help you out. If that's something you would be interested in, you can go to my link, BriannaLGeorge.com, schedule a session with me, look at the packages that I have, and let's move forward. Let's do this thing. All right, guys, have a happy Monday.